Hey everyone, my name is Malicious, and today we're going to be working on making a static Apex life bar or game bar or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to basically start from scratch, and then we're going to use a screenshot or still from the Apex game with full shields, full life, everything that we need so that we can make this as accurate as possible. So we're going to start off with a new file. Um, I like to use 1920 by 1080 because when you create this in the specific spot where the life bar is supposed to be, when you plug it into your Streamlabs, OBS, anything else that you use, it comes up right in the spot that you need it to be, so you don't have to make too many adjustments, and if any adjustments at all, it literally just sits right there exactly where you need it to be. There's other things that like some people like to create it really big, and then they'll have to adjust it and try to set it on there. In this case, it'll just be a full screen, and it ends up being right exactly where you need it to be. So let's begin. So I'm going to pull in the picture from that we need, and we're just gonna set it right in there. It should populate. Let's see. It seems like there's a little space, so we could just make that a little. Okay. All right. So sitting right there. Um, We're gonna start by like zooming into the section that uh, does it like this. A And I'll explain through as I go through this. Uh, so get it as close as possible. Some of the pixelation is off, but you can see kind of roughly what's the outline of it. And we're gonna take our pen tool and we're just gonna start making a shape. So we're gonna go here, here, here. If you hold shift, you can make a straight line. If you hold shifts on these corners, it'll make a straight line, but it'll kind of go this way. So I only hold shift on the like actual like straightaways. So now we have that piece. Um, you can either leave it this way if you want. You could have did from the very edge here all the way around and did one big piece. A lot of people like different components. There's some where they do the little piece up here where it tells you how much damage you have to do to get to the next level of armor, things like that. But this is the one that I like, so I am going to do this piece, and then I'm a rename it to middle overlay, just so I know which one it is. But I'm gonna hide that because I'm gonna make another piece that's gonna be the pieces on this side right here. Now, a lot of people like the ones that I've seen the majority of. And I'm gonna change the fill for this so that I don't have a fill, so it's just straight lines. Actually, you know what? We're gonna make a fill, but I'm gonna change the color just so I know which one is which. But a lot of people, what they like to do is make this all the way to like right here and then come back all the way back, and it's totally your preference. I like to make this big old piece right here, and I gotta control Z because it wasn't a straight line, so hold shift. See how I held shift and then did something weird. So in this case, I'm gonna just go right here. And I can do this line right here, but I don't really like that piece, so I'm gonna just, as much as possible, go up here. I'm gonna take a little right, and I'm gonna go down this way, and I'm gonna go here, and here, Then I'm gonna make a straight line. Here you could probably make it a little bigger than the usual. It doesn't really matter at this point because there's enough space. I'm gonna make this as so that I can get a nice smooth straight line. Okay. Seems a little weird, doesn't it? Let's see if I can. Oh, it's because I messed up. Okay, so yeah, so I have to kind of go up here somewhere so it will look. Yeah, I was like, this is weird. All right, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? All right, so there you have your kind of template for both the middle and the outer overlay. So we'll see. Let's open that back up, and now you see you have the full thing. So I'm gonna go to this overlay, the middle overlay, and I'm gonna lower the opacity so that I can actually see underneath. And basically what we're gonna do is create 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers that correspond to all this. Now at the end of this, you can actually combine them all if you want them all to be together. I kind of leave them all separately because then when I take like later on, if I want to do animated, since we're working just on a static version of this, then you get to have all the layers and you understand which layer is which. If you want to do different things to the different layers, you can do that. And mind you, you don't have to do the exact shape. You could do a bunch of different shapes if you wanted to. You could get creative with this template. There's people that have done different shapes. I saw somebody with an oval that covers this whole thing. Like, that was pretty cool. So, be creative. Do whatever you need to do, and to your template. So with the same pen tool, we're just gonna keep making. Nice. These are all kind of straight lines, so I'm making this far. I'm gonna actually take the fill off here so that I don't get full fill because I just want to see the outlines of these. Because we're building this layer on top of the middle overlay. So, oh, what did I just do? Okay. So I'm gonna go as where it seems like it's pixelated, so it looks a little weird. This one's at an angle on this side, so we're gonna go here. Actually, let me try to get that a little more. There we go. Nope, it's still. I made it too low. So you gotta make it enough to where like it can actually make a straight line. Because if you don't, you can immediately tell that it's not a straight line. See, so that's a straight line. Okay, so then we're gonna create another one. We're gonna go right here. We're just gonna try to make these. And this one seems to have a little side step here, so we're gonna try to do that. Nope, that's just off a little bit. All right, and then we're gonna try to straighten line this over here. Went too high. Maybe right there. Would that make a straight line? Yeah, all right. So, and then, oh, no. Okay, so close that out. Okay. So we're gonna Control D, kind of deselect that, or you can just go to this. So there we go. And now we're making another layer. So we're gonna start here. And in this one, you can actually just copy and kind of paste this one because so I'm gonna select it first, so you can just switch to the move tool so you can select, and I'll just click it here, copy and paste. Did it make it? Did it make it? Copy, paste. Alright, so sometimes it might be just me, There we go. All right, so so I'm gonna move this one just to line up with that one, but be on the shield. And now you have those. Okay, so we're gonna do shield, helmet, right? So this will help you kind of keep track of which ones are life bar. Shield bar, right? Alright, so I'll move this closer to the overlay. Alright, so we're gonna select the middle overlay and I'm gonna make the opacity back to getting closer to a little darker just so I can see what I'm doing. So next up, we're gonna select the pen tool again and we're gonna start erasing some of these things so that you actually get the deletion part, or like the cutouts of the life bar, the health bar, or the life bar, the shield bar, helmet, and the shield. So start with the shield bar, and so we have the pen tool. You're gonna right click, click make selection, hit OK. So you can actually feather it, so that'll kind of make the lines on the edges blur the more you kind of feather it. I wouldn't feather it because then it'll kind of mess up with the life bar. So we're just gonna go with 0 and then hit OK, right? And then what you're gonna do next is make sure you're clicked on the middle overlay, and you're going to hit E on the keyboard and then click, and it's gonna say, do you want to rasterize the shape? You say OK, and that'll allow you to delete this whole section without messing up all the rest. And if I take this off, you can see it's a very clean cut. So let's put that back. And then Control D will help you deselect, or you can just click here. But then we're going to click the life bars next. We're going to do the same process again. Hit OK. Then click back the middle overlay. Then hit E. And we're alright. Control D. We're going to move up to the helmet. Pen tool. Make selection. OK. Middle overlay. E. And so let's double check, make sure everything's working great. Okay. So Control D. Shield. Pen tool, right click, make selection. Okay. Middle section. E. Okay. D. Control D. Alright, and that should be your template. Now, we can either keep this here or deselect it, or make it disappear or not visible. We're gonna go to a full 100%, right? So now we can work with all of this now. So you can either do very different things. So we're in the middle overlay. So this section right here, we're gonna go back to just move tool so it can select it, and I can select the color now. So I am going to kind of use a gradient on it, and you'll have a gradient. You might have to adjust the gradient because it's probably way too small for it to do anything right now. So I'm gonna actually delete this. So you can double click on this layer and then why is it not here? Create a gradient overlay. For some reason it's white. So as you can see, it's changing to different things. So you can do things like that, right? This is probably like the worst way to do this. Just to be honest. Be honest. The other part is you could go back to your pen tool, and then in strokes, instead of a fill color or like a solid color, there is a gradient here. So you can actually click this, and it should adjust it. So in most cases, it probably doesn't, because that's why it's being like that right now. Why? Hey, I clicked it. It won't let me make the selection. Okay. So where do I here? Whatever. Yeah. So in most cases, it used to let you just do that. I don't know why it's not letting me do. But you can change the colors and stuff like that now that you have it selected. Um, you might have to adjust some of the gradients because it won't. It's only populating like a little half. But if you don't want to do this, you can add kind of like some type of background to it by like taking a picture from somewhere. Like if you have like some type of background picture that you usually like to work with. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Hmm. It's not where I want to be. All right. Here I have my thumbnails. So if I just grab something like, oh, here we go. This perfect one. So I'm gonna drop this big old picture on here. Oh my god. So I like to make sure it scales a lot smaller, right? Um, this thing's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna make it smaller because I want you guys to see the picture. Um, Plus, if you were to do this while the picture's big, it'd just be way too much of a background. So we're just gonna keep clicking until we can make it nice enough for you guys to see. I'm gonna click this because actually I need to still scale it. It'll let me do. Okay, there you go. And also kind of so this fit on screen so you can do some work with it and move it. Okay, so as you can see, it's Halo. It was downloaded from like Google searches and stuff like that. So if I want this to be kind of like a background, what I'll do is kind of overlay this over it. Okay, and what you want to do is click on the layer of the picture and create clipping mask. And now, basically, as you can see on the right here, it kind of overlaid it to the middle overlay. So now that's the background of um, your overlay, right? And you can do the same thing with if you had done this on the um, outer layer. So if I kind of tied it to that, you can actually hold Alt and then kind of drag in between it, and it'll attach it to the bottom layer that you're at. And you can see it did a clipping mask around it, so the background is actually attached to that outer layer that we created. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. As you can see that the background was that on that outer layer. So we're just gonna move that back to this one. We're gonna hit Alt here or right click and then clipping mask, and you have that background. Now The outer layer, I'm probably gonna make like some type of black silver. Well, we can make it kind of blue to match the helmet, kind of. Yeah, and there you go. And then you can just do, things like, like you can make text. So this will be. Don't do this to me. Can I type? Why won't it let me type? Alright, so there it is. I don't know why it's so big, but we're gonna play with it anyways. Alright, so properties 24. Oh, let's get 12. Maybe 11, 10, 9. Get smaller. 6. Okay. I can change the. Maybe. There we go. Blade Runner movie font. Make this a little like bigger. Hey, alright, kind of move that in place where it needs to be. Now, cool thing is that you can go back to this. So we're gonna delete this because it didn't populate. So I don't know, like sometimes this X weird, but it's working. So this piece right here, it's already clipped to your background. So as long as it doesn't, as long as you don't kind of like pass the edge right here, it'll stay on the background. So if you were to want to move it, so you have to click somewhere where there's like a thing. See how I passed it? So it's all black now. It's not necessarily looking bad, but if it has some background there, what you want to do is probably scale it up a little more. That way you have enough space to move. Then you kind of, and it's still clipped to it. So now you have this nice transition here from character, your um, name, and that's how you build a static Apex template. Um, and that's it. I mean, now you just save this off because this is not. Um, the one thing you do want to make sure is that this is all actually transparent. So as you can see, we have transparency, and let's actually move this to fit on screen. As you can see, now it's in the perfect position. It's already in the exact position that you need it to be when you load up this into. I even spelled my name wrong. Look at that, y'all. But when you put this up into OBS or Streamlabs or anything like that, it's already in the correct position. And in this case, you wouldn't even save it as this doesn't actually take up too much, except for loading in an image versus like loading up a web video or a movie, like the other, like the animated one. So be cautious of that. This doesn't take as much processing power as an animated version of it on your system. So we're gonna fix this real quick. There we go. So, and yeah, so that's it. And then you just want to hit File, export this, quick export as an image, and then we're gonna call that malicious. I can't even spell today. Malicious static apex bar, just so I know exactly what it is. I am going to save it out, and that's it. And now you have it, and then you just load it up as an image. Yeah, and so the reason I didn't actually click a lot of these into like to combine them is because of like when you're doing clipping mask. If I had combined the outer section and the inner section, then the clipping mask would have went over the whole thing. So this background would have went across the whole thing. So I didn't join them. You could possibly start joining them now, especially the cutouts. You probably join all those as one because these don't actually. You wouldn't be doing anything with those. But if you keep them separately, when you do animated versions of this stuff, or like if you want to give them different color strokes or different outlines, you can do that because they're separated. Unless you want to give them all the same one, then you can join them all together. But this way, like if you were to take this entire file into like After Effects, then you could do everything separated, so you can do different things to every element. Versus if they're combined, then you'd have to do one effect to an entire piece of it that's combined. So that's the reason I keep them all separated like this. And that's it. Thank you guys for being here. Look out for the another video coming for doing the animated Apex bars. But hopefully this helps. I know there's probably tons of videos on this. I figured, hey, why not do my version as I'm doing this? Because I got excited learning this, and shout out to all the people on YouTube that have some of these videos that teaches Photoshop and After Effects, because I have learned a lot on how to use this, understanding all of this, right? And so thank you guys. Hopefully this helps for those who don't want to pay for an Apex bar. You can get a nice Apex bar by doing it yourself with, a couple tricks and tips here, and those people that like to DIY their own things. Um, so thank you for being here. Watch out for that next video. If you like this, please, please subscribe and give me some comments or give me a like. Anything supports. So I appreciate you guys a lot, and hope to hear from you guys. All right. Thank you.